Hi guys, Andy here. I've been using the Galaxy S4 now for a good week or more, so I figured it was about time that I let you know my actual thoughts on this device. You may have seen some of the other videos I've already done comparing the S4 to the HTC One, some benchmarks, just my thoughts in general, but I thought I should give you a rundown of this device specifically, so here we go. So, I should declare right from the beginning, I have put a custom ROM on the last couple of days ago now. I wanted to see really what difference it made to the performance. So I've put a custom ROM and I've got a theme, so you can see everything's kind of a nice blue theme. The theme that I've used is 3-minute settings, and like I said, the ROM is Wanam Light. Anyway, so the Galaxy S4. My thoughts. Let's talk about the design first of all. Now, personally, I think kind of one of the downsides is it's not a great deal different to the S3. If you saw someone on a tube using one of these, you wouldn't necessarily know straight away it was an S4. You might have to have a bit of a closer look, you know, to differentiate it from the S3. Having said that, the things that are different I do really like. So the corners are a bit more square, they're not quite as rounded as the S3 were. The edges, I don't know how well I'll be able to show this, the edges are actually quite flat now. So on the S3 they curved in almost straight away to give it quite a rounded effect, whereas this, they are quite flat. I don't know if you can see that. And to me that gives it a better feel when you're holding it. It's slightly thinner, 7.9 millimeters in thickness, 130 grams, so I think the weight's almost identical. It is still made of plastic. I can show you the back cover. Is like their last sort of bunch of Galaxy phones have been. I don't have a real problem with this. Some people do. I don't really see, you know, it's okay, it's flimsy and plasticky, but it's being pressed on to the rest of the body, which means it's not like it's going to bend while it's on. Whoopsie daisy. So I don't particularly have a problem with that. The build quality is still pretty good. It feels a pretty solid device. It does make a bit of noise this year, but not a great deal. It's a pretty sturdily built device. The edges of the bezel are really quite thin, so you get a very good, you know, it's a 5-inch screen here, and it's pretty much the same size as the S3 was with a 4.8 inch. So if we move on to the hardware, it's running, I believe this UK version, this is the i9505, is running a quad-core 1.9 GHz Krait 300 CPU, from what I've been able to look up, with an Adreno 320. I couldn't tell you a great deal what that means. What I can tell you, it surprises me a little bit that I still get some lag from it, and having said that, it probably won't show us anything at all. I mean, that's pretty slick. That's all pretty slick. Yeah, it's not going to show me anything, is it? See, there we go. You see a bit of it there? I just find that quite amazing. You know, how can I have a 1.9 quad core and there will still be times that it stutters like that? It is a bit disappointing. It's one of the big factors that's actually making me lean back towards the HTC One now. But anyway, let's crack on. It has NFC built into the battery, but it's using a newer version, or the latest version of NFC. So the NFC tags I had before no longer work. That was a little bit annoying because I've got tags in my car dock, I've got tags on my bicycle mount, tags by the doorway when I come in to connect to the Wi-Fi, and I've had to replace them all. If you need to order some tags, look out for NTAG203. Those are the ones I've ordered that now do work. So the camera, see on the back there is a 13 megapixel camera, which gives you a 4128 by 3096 pixels image. It is very impressive. Let's see if I can show you quickly a couple of the images. Been out working on my trailer, fitting these brackets. So okay, I've zoomed in pretty heavily there. That's still a pretty sturdy image. Colours look good. very clear, and that's from a zoomed in. Let's come back out again, there we go. Can't quite read the text on the screwdriver, but you know, the very good camera. Video looks pretty impressive as well. Sound. So you can see the image slightly shaky. I haven't got anything selected, I haven't got anything like shake reduction and such, but maybe they would help. But generally pretty good. Oh, there was a front-facing image. That was me off out cycling. So yeah, the camera very, very good. Possibly one of the best that I've used. Doesn't quite match up with the HTC One in dark areas, but out in your regular sunlight conditions, very, very crisp indeed. The front-facing camera is 2 megapixel, and then sort of the final piece of the puzzle as far as hardware is the battery. We did have a quick look behind the case. So the battery is a 2600 milliamp hours battery, which I've found has given me fantastic battery life. Where you get a bit of a look at the speaker in there that we'll listen to later. You know, I head off to work, I do me 8 or 9 hours at work, I come home, I'm quite used to it being 60% left at best, but I've had 67% from this. I've gone 15 hours and it's only been at halfway. For me, and everyone uses their device differently, so all I can tell you is for me that's what some of the longest battery life I've had. You might get different from different devices, obviously you use it in a different way, have different things syncing. I just thought when I talked about the design, I didn't really talk about the buttons. It's kind of skipped over. So you see the volume rocker on the side there, the power button on that side, the micro USB at the bottom there, the home button obviously it's slightly raised. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the video, just slightly raised. The headphone jack at the top there. I think that sticker actually comes off. I like the buttons. They are only slightly. I mean, have a look at the power button there. You only just see that it sticks out, but you can clearly feel it, unlike some other devices. Okay, so there we go. That's kind of the hardware and the design of it. All around, yeah, it's pretty good. I suppose nothing kind of. There's no wow factor to any of it really. The quad-core CPU should give wow factor, but I still find it a little bit laggy. The camera, you can argue, gives you wow factor, but I don't know, cameras have been pretty good since the S2, I think. Have they really progressed that much since then? I'm not sure. Again, the battery is very good. Does it make you go wow? Yeah, maybe. So all around, a pretty solid device, design-wise, and pretty solid hardware-wise, but possibly lacking the wow factor like perhaps the HTC One has. That will make people, just by its design, I think people look at that and go, oh wow, what type of phone is that? Whereas I'm not sure they do with this S4. So still sort of hardware related, we're going to take a bit of a look at the screen. It's a 1920 by 1080 screen, so it's literally a 1080p high def screen. Gives 441 pixels per inch, compared to the HTC One that does 469 pixels per inch because it's got the same res but on a smaller screen, or perhaps the iPhone 5, which is only now 326 pixels per inch. You know, a year ago that was pretty fantastic. I mean, it's still respectable, but you know, 400s now for these 1080p screens, pretty impressive. And obviously they do look very, very good. The viewing angles, as you can see, that's pretty strong. So you see a very good clear image at that point there. It starts fading a bit. I don't know how well it shows on the video at that point. But all in all, a pretty impressive screen. Now, I've got this cranked up to full brightness. If I switch auto brightness on, do you see how much that dims? Now that's auto brightness plus 5. So Samsung, I do like that Samsung do this. They let you say, yeah, you can have auto, and it will still change depending on how much light there is in your surroundings. But but they let you sort of adjust. So if you wanted to save battery, you can have it auto still, but I can put it to -5. Show you the difference there. That's quite a distinct difference. Now that looks fine as it is. Again, I don't know how well it shows in the video. When you put it next to the HTC One, you'll have to watch my other videos to see that the HTC One's gone back, so hopefully have its camera fixed. But compared to the HTC One, this screen looks very dim, very dim. So it's fine when I'm using it myself just on its own like that, but if I put it next to the HTC One, the screen does look very dim. That could be one of the reasons why I get such good battery life though, because it's not pushing so much power to the screen. It's all shielded by the Corning Gorilla Glass 3. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to do some tests like I see some people doing. I'm not getting my keys and scribbling all over it. Yeah, I mean, you have to hope that that protects it pretty strongly. Then we move on to the speaker. Let's give you a quick demonstration. Let's start up a podcast first of all.
Video. Ooh, goodness, he's got an entourage.
24 hours, I'll be honest. We went on from Camp Phillips to High Camp yesterday morning, and then I'm losing water.
Okay, that's not a good moment to play, since it's playing somebody on the phone. Let's go back a couple of minutes.
These companies, it obviously matters where you live. It matters what kind of weather you have to deal with. And there are a lot of reasons why people say, even though that burrito place is not that far, it's way more convenient to pay that little convenience fee in order to get food delivered to me. So it definitely depends where you are geographically. But Tom, Seamless is.
Now, the one thing about this speaker, it is loud. The quality is perhaps not quite as good as something like the HTC One. You don't get the rounded, I've used that word a lot, the rounded sound, so there's very little bass if we play it. You don't hear bass in your music like you perhaps get from the HTC One. But that is pretty loud. So for phone calls, I've used phone calls through the speaker, sound really good. For podcasts,
Is based out of New York. Grubhub is based out of the Midwest, started in Chicago. So in a way, they've got some overlap, but they're able to cover a lot more of, if you're just looking at the US.
For podcasts, plenty loud enough, definitely. This is the first device really that's passed what I call my kettle test. So when I get up in the morning, I start my podcast playing, I'm getting ready for work, I head downstairs, I put the kettle on, and I leave this on the kitchen work surface. As the kettle starts to boil, it gets kind of noisy. This is the first phone that I've been able to hear while the kettle's boiling. So maybe that gives you an idea of the volume of it. It is a good speaker, it's just not quite the quality for playing music. But how many people really play music from their phone? I don't know, maybe you do. So let's move on to the software. It is running Android 4.2.2, if I can remember where. So there it says 4.2.2. I'm on MDM. And actually this will be a good shine to point out. This is one of the things that they've done, Samsung have done. So we have connections, we have my device, we have accounts, and we have more. Why change how it already is? I don't know. It annoys me a little bit, but I can live with it. Let's move on to what some people might think are kind of the gimmicky aspects. So AirView shows you helpful information when you hover your finger over the screen. So you think, oh, okay. Start hovering. Nothing. Okay, now at this point I'm just going to put my swipe screen back on, because that's actually, oh, that's not what I want. I've got to remember where, there it is, lock screen. Swipe. Right. So yeah, it says you can hover over the screen, it gives you information, but only if the app has been designed to do that. Now I'll give you just a quick sort of demo of hovering over the screen though, well, hopefully I will. So there's my lock screen. Come on. Can you see the colours zipping around underneath my finger? Now, having said that, you can't necessarily tell that I'm not touching the screen. And when you can tell I'm not touching the screen, you can't see what's going on. But I can assure you my finger is a good sort of centimetre or so off the screen. You can see that light effect following it. Let's finally open it. I do quite like that unlock effect. It used to be the ripples, now it's kind of the lights. But yeah, so basically, unfortunately, hardly any apps. Well, the only one I'm aware of is Flipboard. It's the only one that will make use of the hovering. So if I hover over sports, you can tell that's different to if I actually tap on it, obviously, and it opens up. Now when I'm doing that, let's see if I can show you. You won't be able to necessarily see. Right, that's activated it though. Still active, gone. Active, gone. So probably sort of half a centimetre or so. But yeah, unfortunately this is the only app that I'm aware of that uses it. Could be very, very handy. I'm told the built-in Samsung ones use it as well. Actually, yeah, to Watch On, for example, I'm fairly sure. Let's quickly have a look in there. Was it Watch On that I was looking at? Maybe not. No, maybe not. There is a video of Watch On, I'll get uploaded very shortly. Also, there's this whole thing about scrolling when your eyes have been detected at the bottom of the screen, but I can tell you that I'm looking at all different bits of the top and the bottom and moving my head and all sorts. Nothing's happening. So I don't quite understand how that's supposed to work. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Someone please let me know if I am. So what else on the software? I do like, and again I've themed these so they look a little bit different to they would to anyone else. I do like that Samsung give you the toggles. You can scroll back and forth through all of them. You can tap this one in the corner to get the whole lot of them. You can edit which ones are showing where. So I can just drag and drop one and it swaps it over. You can decide if you want the brightness adjustment or not. So I do like that. Samsung do that often and on most of their devices, and I find it very handy. What are the software? I mean, they do. Samsung gives you quite a lot of different bits. So Watch On that I just opened, that's one of them. I've uploaded a separate, or I'm going to upload a separate video on that. Take a look at that. S Health I had a bit of a look at. Where's it gone? So you've got your Samsung app, Samsung Hub, Samsung Link. There is the software that in theory lets you play different, the same music on different devices. I've not really had the opportunity to test that. Where did S Health go? Am I gone blind? Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not on this custom ROM. That's a bit annoying, actually. S Health basically it lets you plot in your weight. It works as a pedometer. You can plot in your meals, and it works how many calories you've eaten, and I guess how many calories you've burnt. It looked kind of handy. You've got things like S Translator, which. Good afternoon. Obviously, it should translate that to Spanish. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. You can download a high-quality voice file. Let's not do that right now. So, I mean, I think, isn't that the same as Google Translator, pretty much? I'm not entirely sure, but it's a little bit slow, considering I've got a very strong Wi-Fi connection. Obviously, we've got S-Voice, the calendar apps and all that kind of thing. To be honest, I'm not an S-Memo. I'm not going to go through them now, I'm sure. I don't think they're all that different to what we had before. I'm not really that interested in all of that junk, basically. So that's pretty much the lot, really. I could show you benchmarks and things, but if you want, go and watch the S3 versus HTC One video that I did. You'll be able to see the benchmarks going on in there. So there we have it. The Galaxy S4. It's a great device. It's a very good phone. Is it better than the S3? Yes, it is. Is it kind of a safe option, perhaps, by Samsung? Possibly, I think it is. It has a fantastic camera. It's a louder speaker than most phones. It has a 1080p screen. You know, it ticks all the boxes. I just worry that it's not got that wow factor to it. I don't know what to tell you. Is it the best Android device there is? I'm not sure. I would say it's in the top 2, so it's this or the HTC One. I've done another video I might have mentioned comparing them both. 2 days ago I was sure I was keeping the S4, it was going to be my daily device. Then yesterday I'm not even entirely sure why. I'm thinking, oh, maybe the HTC One's the device that I want. I just think it maybe lacks that something, I don't know. It is a great device. If you've picked this up and upgrade, you can be very happy. Like I say, the S3 was, to me, by far the top device, and this is better than the S3. I just wonder if they've perhaps been a bit safe. They've just gone for the formula that worked with the S3 when they've designed the S4 and built the S4. The software, a little bit gimmicky. Some of it's great though. The camera application is very good. TouchWiz I'm not a big fan of, but you can kind of mask that in many ways. I don't know, I feel like I'm a bit down on it, and I don't know why. It is a great device, it is a very good phone. I would recommend it. This or the HTC One has to be the best Android device there is at the moment. It feels good in the hand, it feels solid, it feels comfortable. I don't know what I can tell you really. I don't know quite why. There's just something that's maybe because I've had the S3 for a year and this isn't that different. I just kind of feel this isn't much of a change if I stick with this. I don't know, I really don't know. It is a great device, great camera, great screen, great design, great build quality. The S4, you won't be disappointed if you get it, definitely. One of the top 2 devices there is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments though. I'm sure everyone will have a different opinion, so please do let me know. My name's Andy, I'll catch you all again soon.